It was one of those evenings when life felt unbearably heavy for Adil. He was a 28-year-old man who had just lost his job at a private company, his bills were piling up, and he had started questioning the very meaning of his existence. Sitting alone in his dimly lit apartment in Karachi, with the sound of traffic and restless horns echoing from the street below, he stared at the ceiling and wondered if life was even worth living. He felt invisible in a city full of people, like a ghost drifting through crowded markets, tea stalls, and buses, yet belonging nowhere. His parents had passed away years ago, his friends were all too busy with their own lives, and he was drowning in debt. Adil's life was hanging by a thin thread of despair. But destiny had other plans, plans that would test him, break him, and ultimately rebuild him. That night, unable to sleep, he wandered into the streets aimlessly. The city was alive with its usual chaos, rickshaws honking, shopkeepers closing shutters, children chasing one another barefoot on the dusty roads, but to him, it all felt distant, like he was trapped behind a glass wall. He walked past a bakery where the sweet smell of bread reminded him of childhood, past a hospital gate where worried families lingered, and finally into a quieter alley near the railway station. It was there that he saw her, an old woman, frail, with wrinkled skin and trembling hands, struggling to carry 2 heavy bags filled with vegetables and rice. She stumbled as one of the bags nearly tore, and without thinking, Adil rushed forward and caught it. "Are you all right, Amma?" he asked gently, calling her mother as was customary in his culture. The woman looked up with tired eyes that still held dignity. "Beta, thank you, these bags are too heavy for me. My house is just a little ahead." Adil didn't think twice. He took both bags and walked alongside her. The road was uneven, and the load was heavy, but for the first time in months, he felt strangely alive. It was such a simple thing, helping an old woman, but it gave him a flicker of purpose he hadn't felt in ages. As they reached her small, broken-down house at the corner of the alley, she invited him in for tea. Though he hesitated, something in her voice made him agree. Inside, the house was modest, barely lit with a single bulb. There were no luxuries, only simplicity. She introduced herself as Salma Begum, a widow who had lost her husband years ago and lived alone. Her children had long abandoned her, chasing better lives abroad, sending neither letters nor money. She survived by selling homemade pickles in small jars to local shopkeepers. Adil sat quietly as she poured him tea in cracked cups, and he listened as she spoke about loneliness, resilience, and faith. That evening stretched into hours, and when Adil finally left, something in him had shifted. He realized that even in his darkest moments, there were others carrying heavier burdens with grace. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel utterly useless. He began visiting her every few days, helping her with groceries, repairing broken shelves, and sometimes just sitting silently while she talked about life. What he didn't realize then was that this one small deed, carrying her bags, was not just saving her from despair, it was saving him too. Weeks turned into months. Adil started finding odd jobs, working in a mechanic shop during the day and tutoring children in the evenings. He didn't earn much, but it was enough to keep him afloat. Each time he visited Salma Begum, she blessed him with prayers that seemed to breathe new strength into him. Slowly, his heart began healing, and the thought of ending his life faded into the background. One evening, while Adil was repairing the bulb in her house, Salma Begum looked at him with teary eyes. "Beta, you don't know this, but you've saved me. I was ready to give up. I thought I had no one left in this world. But Allah sent you. Your kindness has kept me alive." Adil froze. He wanted to laugh and cry at the same time, because in truth, she had saved him too. But the story didn't end there. Fate still had a twist waiting. One late night, as Adil was returning home from his tutoring class, he was cornered by 2 robbers in a deserted street. One of them pulled out a knife, demanding his wallet and phone. Adil's heart raced. He had only a few hundred rupees, but the fear of being stabbed made him comply. Just as the thief lunged closer, shouting angrily, a voice cried out from behind. It was Salma Begum's neighbor, a rickshaw driver who had often seen Adil helping the old woman. The man rushed forward, swinging a stick, shouting loudly enough to scare the robbers into fleeing. Adil collapsed in relief, his hands trembling. The rickshaw driver said, "I know you. You helped Salma Baji. You're a good man. Today, I couldn't let you get hurt. That night, as Adil sat in his room, shaken but alive, he realized the full circle of his deed. The kindness he had shown to Salma Begum had not only saved her from loneliness but had built a web of unseen protection around him too. She prayed for him daily, her neighbors respected him, and in ways he couldn't have planned, that good deed had come back to shield his own life. Over time, things improved further. Adil secured a stable job at a logistics company. His salary was modest but steady. He continued to care for Salma Begum, who became like the mother he had lost too soon. She, in turn, became his family, her prayers lighting his path. People in the neighborhood began noticing his character, and soon, families trusted him with tutoring their children. His life, once empty and meaningless, now overflowed with gratitude and purpose. Years later, when Salma Begum fell ill and was hospitalized, Adil stayed by her side like a son. In her final moments, she held his hand and whispered, "You saved me, Beta. And in saving me, you saved yourself too. Never stop being kind, because kindness always finds its way back." With those words, she closed her eyes peacefully. Adil wept like a child that day. But as he buried her, surrounded by neighbors who respected both of them, he realized her words were a truth etched into the universe. One good deed had indeed saved two lives, hers and his. Adil went on to dedicate his life to helping others in need. He founded a small community center in her memory, where orphans, widows, and struggling youth could find support, education, and hope. Every time someone asked him why he did it, he would smile faintly and say, "Because one act of kindness saved me when I thought I had nothing left." And so, the legacy of that one deed lived on, multiplying into countless lives touched, proving that kindness, once sown, never truly dies, it grows, heals, and saves. If this story touched your heart, let it be a reminder that no act of kindness is ever wasted. A single gesture can ripple across time, saving lives in ways you may never see. Be the reason someone smiles today, be the strength someone holds on to tomorrow. And if you believe in the power of kindness to transform the world, share this story, leave your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories that remind us what it truly means to be human. Your one click could be the good deed that inspires another soul.